sovereignty, and architects. When our founding fathers and mothers fought for independence in the mid 20th century, sovereignty meant political liberation, lowering of foreign flags, the hoisting of national flags. That was the political battle of the 1950s and 60s. But as we sit here in 2026, the definition of sovereignty has evolved. Today, true sovereignty is not merely about a flag or a national anthem. Sovereignty, one, is economic autonomy. Sovereignty is food security. Sovereignty is technological ownership. Sovereignty is intellectual and cultural agency. We cannot achieve sovereignty if we remain passive consumers of global technology, policy, and funding. We attain sovereignty where we become creators, innovators, and self reliant builders. And that is why the Orange Youth Festival and the African We Want Symposium learning about the weather or criticizing the terrain. An architect observes the landscape, measures the structural requirements, drafts a precise blueprint, lays a solid foundation, and works tirelessly until the structure stands tall and withstands the elements. For decades, young Africans have been described as the leaders of tomorrow. But tomorrow is a moving target designed to keep us waiting. I submit to you today that we are not waiting for tomorrow. We are the architects of today. Say, I am the architect of today. Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, will not be constructed by rhetoric alone. It will be built by line, enterprise by enterprise, code by code, and policy by policy, by the hands and minds assembled in this room. Today's symposium brings together extraordinary mix of stakeholders, high-level policymakers, institutional leaders, development partners, and grassroots youth innovators. This is a rare and powerful alignment. We, we, but we must ensure that our dialogue today does not end in a well-worded communique that gathers dust. At Youth Arise organization, we operate on one core philosophy. True leadership begins with practical execution and sacrificial service. And that is what we have been doing for the last 14 years. Before we demand a seat at the policy table, we must ask ourselves, how are we serving our local communities? And that is why we have the Community Impact Project, the Community Service, and the After Learning Project for you to undertake local actions that feed into continental actions. When you demonstrate tangible, undeniable value on the ground, your seat at the decision-making table ceases to be a favor requested. It becomes an operational necessity. To our youth delegates, as you enter the Aspiration Policy Labs this afternoon, covering the 7 aspirations of Agenda 2063, I charge you to approach this session with extreme rigor. Don't just identify the problems. We already know the challenges of unemployment, climate vulnerability, and governance gap. Focus 80% of your energy on viable and scalable solutions. Whatever we do here, the African Union is following us live, and they are going to pick up the document. And as an organization, we are going to do something about the outputs and outcomes of this symposium, and various institutions are also going to pick up this document. Let's bridge the gap between policy and technology, and let's draft actionable blueprint. Bring forward practical recommendations that can directly be integrated into the Accra Youth Statement that we will sign and deliver to policy leaders this weekend. To our esteemed guests from UNESCO, the National Youth Authority, and various ministry and regional bodies, we express our profound gratitude for your strategic partnership. Thank you for recognizing that investing in youth-led innovation is not charity. It is the most lucrative economic strategy for Africa's future. We ask that you continue to open doors, streamline regulatory pathways, and allocate real capital to scale youth-led enterprises across the continent. To our gracious host, Valley View University, thank you for providing a home for this national and continental gathering. And finally, to my fellow young African leaders, look around this room. Look at the person sitting to your left and to your right. You are looking at the future ministers of trade, tech founders, diplomats, the agricultural pioneers, and the cultural icons who define the next century of Africa's history. Let's use this morning not merely to talk about the Africa we want, but to design, draft, and build it. The world is watching. History is waiting. The blueprint is in our hands. Thank you, God bless you, and welcome to the Africa We Want Symposium 2026.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moses Balfour Ewa. I am an architect too. Thank you for those inspiring opening remarks, reminding us that Africa's future must be shaped by our ideas of courage and action of its young people. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to restate or just help us better understand that the Orange Youth Festival is having its second edition here at the Valley View University campus in Oyibi. Kindly take note that the third edition happened on the Kwame Nkrumah University campus, or the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology campus in Ashanti region, bringing together over 400 to 500 young people from across the entire country. And this year, and also from other countries outside of Ghana, this year as well, we happen to have over 500, 600, 700 delegates as well, and some of our invitees and international delegates as well from other countries outside of Ghana. So ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for the Orange Youth Festival. Now, as we continue with the second edition of the Orange Youth Festival, I would also like us to recognize that building the Africa we want requires strong partnerships and collective action. We are therefore honored to hear solidarity messages from two important partners who continue to champion youth development, education, culture, and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as we welcome UNESCO to deliver their solidarity message. So a bird whispered to me that one of the most cheapest things out there is a clap. Can we please give a clap once again to all our speakers so far and to our next speaker? Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm not feeling the energy. Good morning. Thank you. My name is Melody Esiawuna Mboateng, and I am UNESCO's officer responsible for our sciences sector programs here in Accra, Ghana. I'm here to deliver a message, a solidarity message on behalf of UNESCO's representative to Ghana, Mr. Edmond Mupala. He's very passionate about anything that has to do with the youth, especially when it comes to initiatives that empower them to take charge of today and to plan for tomorrow. Unfortunately, he's in another important event, which is why he couldn't make it, designed and built by the generation of young Africans gathered here today. UNESCO therefore commends the National Youth Authority and the Youth Arise organization for creating this platform for youth expression. Please give it up for them once again. National Youth Authority and the Youth Arise organization. We urge governments, private and public institutions, and governments in plural because we know there are other young people from other African countries represented here. We urge governments, private and public institutions, and policymakers to continue investing in young people's education, skills, creativity, cultural participation, and entrepreneurship